I have to change one more thing.
Okay. I feel like I'm on a Joe Rogan podcast because you're like, and we're live. Did you hear about that new study that says DMT makes chimpanzees have more babies? Are we on? Or what's going on?
I think it's all good.
Okay.
I like the way that your hair is grown in.
Yeah, I'm super happy about it. I don't really want to like do short haircuts anymore.
I missed that. I like that old haircut, dude. That was sick.
Yeah, thanks, man. I tried to look as cool as possible with that haircut.
That was the best. That was, and I've had a lot of terrible haircuts as well. None like that looked that bad immediately, but Ethan is the only person.
You're coming through a little choppy, but
can you hear me? Okay.
You're coming through a little choppy. Yeah. Now I can. That was being weird for a second. But yeah. No. Yeah, you've had some terrible haircuts.
Yeah, just me being bald alone, I look really bad. But then like also my haircuts generally, 9 out of 10 of them are terrible. But Ethan is the only person I know who has had a worse haircut than that one that I saw on you.
That haircut was that bad?
It was really funny. I mean, it's not like the haircut was that bad, but just the way it was so funny. It was such a funny look on you. Like,
yeah, it was not me at all.
Yeah.
It's so not me. Yeah.
No shade towards your mother. That it's not that she did a bad job.
No. She just obviously has a very poor understanding of the hair aesthetics that I like. But like that was the sad part is that like I only get like 1 or 2 haircuts a year, right? Because like it's that whenever I go home, my mom does it. So like my hair will just keep growing, and then eventually I'll get a haircut, and every time it's a new haircut. Like it's a different haircut because I guess she just doesn't remember what the style is.
Is it usually good when she does it?
What?
Is it usually good?
It's fairly decent, except for when it like has to go. It goes a little bit short. When it starts to get short, it's weird. But my hair eventually grows out to be the same length and look the same either way, regardless.
Yeah.
So it's like, look at the mop on my head right now. You know?
I like it. I think it looks good.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Mm-hmm.
You too, man. I like your cowboy hat.
Thank you.
It makes me think about time out on the range, on the open range.
Do you miss
wrestling cattle?
Do you miss being at your beach house?
Yeah, a little bit. But it's okay. I'm getting through the semester. I'm doing my work. It's interfering with like me wanting to grow my channel, which kind of sucks. But I figure like I kind of have to get the piece of paper. But with the new Call of Duty that came out, I've been playing it a lot, and I've been unlocking a bunch of stuff, and I'm gonna like showcase that. And I think I'm gonna do a series where I just like talk about like the weapons and attachments you should put on them.
Nice.
Really simple stuff.
That sounds like something that would hit hard.
Yeah, it sounds like something that would slap, bro.
View-wise, it sounds like it would be very successful.
Yeah, slap. Just view-wise, slap.
You want to hear me and Ethan's plan to blow up view-wise?
Yeah.
We're going to react to Filipino music.
React to Filipino music?
On Ethan's channel. We have some like very loyal and intelligent Filipino viewers who they claim to know the market trends, and they say that if we react to these Filipino songs, our video is going to blow up. And so that's what we're going to do.
So are you going to be like, "Oh, this is terrible," and make it a controversial reaction so that like you get national coverage?
That would be really funny. Yeah. I think I don't think that we're going to act like we like it if we don't like it. I think we're just going to watch it and be like, "Oh, how about that?" Because
people can tell, like when you're not being authentic.
Yeah, I agree.
People will be like, "Hey, this is bullshit. This guy doesn't think that Haso Atumiti is the best song on the radio right now." I don't know what they speak in.
But I do
Philippines.
I do think that's a great song.
Yeah.
Haso Atumito.
Yeah.
Haso Atumito.
Yeah. Great song. So how's your music career going?
It's good. So I got in contact with a couple record labels, and I think I sent out my application, and one of them is bringing me back in for an interview for the janitorial position, and I'm really stoked about it.
Wow, that's a good way to get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it has good benefits and stuff, and I was thinking kind of
Yeah.
more like a long term play,
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like 42 years.
and then try the music
And
thing out after
and
that.
then try the music thing out after that. Yeah, I actually there was something I saw a video I think you might find interesting about something called a toolbox paradox, where like you keep waiting to do something because you're like, when I get this, I'll do this, and then you never do it because you never get the thing, and it's like that old thing of like you just have to do it. You can't keep waiting until you have everything, you know.
Hmm.
Um, I saw a scene. There was a scene with like Denzel Washington and Tom Cruise that did it really, really well in some movie where he's like, "You wanted to start a limo business," and he's like, "Yeah, but I needed to get my first." He's like, "All it took was a down payment on a car, and you never did it." You know. So
Yeah.
it's like I don't know.
Do you feel
I
like
got a pretty serious.
you're in a
Do I feel
toolbox
a tool?
paradox?
No, no. I feel like I need another 72 hours in my week. Is how I feel.
Yeah,
um,
I feel that.
like I'm getting like just on all fronts. I'm getting my ass completely handed to me in school.
I'm sure.
And not in terms of like I'm getting bad grades, but just like deadline after deadline after deadline after deadline. And it's gotten to the point where it's like I'll uninstall video games at the beginning of the week and then reinstall them on Friday to play them because I can't play them during the week or I'll like won't get my shit done. So that's pretty substantial. But yeah, it's just been like yesterday I missed my Italian class because I was up the night before doing a lot of work. And then I went to my VR class. We had a field trip to go to Dreamscape. I did a VR experience. And then we came back. I went to my thesis prep class. I was running back and forth between my apartment and class trying to get all of the supplies that I needed for the production session that we were doing. And then after that, I had to sit through like a 3-hour class, which Mike Sanders from Activision, who's the lead visual director of Activision, came in and like gave a talk. And I actually got his email address and I asked him, hey, can I come check out the studio in Santa Monica? And he said, yeah, just shoot me an email. You can come anytime. So I want to check that out because it's right in the space where I want to be. It's virtual reality, game design, and a lot
Dude,
of
I don't know.
pieces.
This virtual reality stuff, man, it's not going to stick around.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. That's what he was
I
saying
think we're going
because
to go back to the joystick stuff pretty soon.
he was saying that it comes and it goes because and it's the same thing that my VR class with Scott Fisher has been saying. Back to the joystick.
I'm just
Like
kidding.
what?
I think virtual reality is insane and totally the future of
Yeah,
video games.
it's a future, but the thing is they're in stark. There's a few like there's I could tell you about it, but it would take like a few minutes. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. So there's 5G is supposed to be a big deal for VR because it'll allow people and AR because it'll allow people to stream content onto very very tiny devices like glasses like the size of these. And that's all fine and good, but what he alluded to, Mike Sanders alluded to, is that there's still a rendering computing problem that we need to face where you have these high environments of high graphical fidelity where there's a lot of different moving parts and tracking and nodes and there's a lot of graphical processing that comes into that. So I was told in class that like VR, 5G is the future of VR, but there's still the render computing issue. So his answer to it was that if you could do like rotoscopic basically giant 3D projection mapping. And what that would do is you'd have a bigger surface area to interact with, one. And two, a person could just put on glasses that have two central trackers on them. And everybody, based on their position around in the environment, would see it from a different angle
That's pretty cool.
because the geometry of the experience would be manipulated based on their position as opposed to them manipulating with inside the environment.
So it's making a central network instead of every device has its own.
Yeah, exactly. And what he was talking about was there was a monitor that was developed, I think, in Belgium that was 120 times 4. 140.
480.
Yeah, 480. So it's a 480 hertz monitor, right? That what it can do though is it can broadcast four different channels like of viewing. So if you, me, Ethan, and say Davey, we're all sitting in front of this television and we all had our own individual audio feed, we could watch four different shows off of the same television. And that's basically the concept. Is that like it changes, the geometry changes frame by frame per person, but it does it fast enough in a way in which it's presented like it's right there in front of them for their own viewing, which I thought was pretty phenomenal.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's basically that then.
So this sounds like it's not related to video games at all, actually.
Well, yeah. So he worked on like Titanic. He worked on like a bunch of Disney movies. He worked on Skylanders, on all of the Call of Duties, pretty much. And he's the guy that's like in the laboratory that's like pushing the envelope. You know, he's like looking at new technologies. He's like, how can we use this? How can we do this? Where do we come up with ideas? And he was telling me also what I gathered was that there was a lot of moving parts to this guy's job. There's a social element where he has to go out and share drinks with colleagues at other companies and figure out, you know, what is going on, what kind of technology they're working on, or he's looking at their hiring websites to determine what they're doing. You know, if he finds like, oh, they're hiring a motion capture expert, then when he knows they're doing something related to mocap, and he can derive based on the types of jobs that people are applying for what the company is doing. So there's that component. There's also the monetization component. So he does a lot of scanning objects and putting them into games for microtransactions. And he also is paying attention to the esports scene and figuring out a way, because it's like esports for the regular person is like playing football or like watching football in first person, right? Like it's very hard once you break that 180 line for people to understand what's going on. And that happens all the time in esports because you're constantly switching from perspective to player.
Wait, what do you mean once you switch the 180 line?
The 180 line. So are you familiar with this concept?
Is that like the
imaginary line that goes through the scene that you can't cross? Because if you cross it,
I got you.
It'll throw people off and they won't know where they're oriented.
Sure, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So he's trying to also figure out a way in which esports can be presented so that it's actually digestible instead of it just being like a bunch of stuff that if you don't know the game and aren't able to like follow it closely, you would be able to watch it and say, oh, this is what's going on. And he was also talking about like betting and micro betting over esports. He also said that like a lot of people right now are buying up certain types of companies, and he thinks that the next type of company that people are going to buy up is interactive studios. So he was like, you should get an angel investor and like start a games company because you'll probably get bought out at a certain point. And he had a lot of insightful knowledge on the industry, and I want to shoot him an email probably after this. But I was asking him what his hiring process is like. So we'll see. But I kind of just want to go there and see the environment, dude. Like it's a several $1 million motion capture stage that has projection mapping onto the floor so that like actors can like one actor can play multiple roles and the motion capture be grafted onto them. And then he talked about how he did facial scans and how AI was helping him do facial scans and predictive stuff for faces and the amount of detail. It was really a fascinating. It was by far the best speaker we've had in the symposium class so far. And it was right up my alley. So yeah. What about your cowboy hat?
Yeah, so what I did was I got a large scale 3D ultra gigahertz motion capture display arena, and I hired about 300 part-time servants, and what we did is we spent 6.5 years constructing an ark, and that was just in case there was a flood. And then after that, we were able to rotoscope this hat. And we made a couple models out of granite and then one out of crystal. And once we were comfortable with the process, then we attempted to make one out of straw. and it didn't work. So we had to go back to the drawing board, and we started working on designs for like a more elaborate arc.
Right.
And what we came up with
Is that when
was
you started the whole pipeline, the whole cycle all over again?
yeah, but this was kind of we had to get in more people and like a lot more investors and stuff. And
Right.
I mean, at that point, we created our own cryptocurrency just so that
Right.
our transactions were easier within the community that we built.
Right.
And there, at that point, we started developing side cults. So just kind of like
Huh.
communes of people that they raise children within the community only to work on this project, just
Right.
to assist with the creation. And
Right.
it never ended up working, so I just had to go to Boot Barn and buy this one, which
Yeah.
is such a bummer. But
Damn.
yeah,
Food Barn?
Boot
That,
Barn,
that's the name of a store?
Boot Barn,
Somebody Boot Barn or Boot Barn? Boot Barn?
Boot Barn.
Okay.
Yeah,
Boot Barn. Go on down to Boot Barn and get yourself a 10-gallon hat. Is that what everybody in Texas is like? That's what I figured, right?
yeah, it's annoying. It's like you can't you have to do that whole thing before you can have a conversation with anyone.
Right. Yeah, just to make sure that they're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
You go into the
when we do our secret handshake for our fraternity that we're gonna do right now.
yeah. Like the dude, the fraternity is like such a foreign memory to me. Like my life now is so different than it was at that time. It's honestly astonishing. Like I don't. It seems like it was years ago,
Have
which
you
it was.
have you gone
But
to any parties this year?
not a single one.
Are you deactivated?
I probably yeah. I don't know if
You're
I've
not paying
officially
anything,
deactivated.
right?
No, I'm not paying a dime.
Okay, yeah, you're probably deactivated. That's
Yeah.
good, but you could probably still go. They don't care.
Yeah, but why would I want to?
I don't know.
That's the thing is that I don't feel compelled to in any particular way.
I didn't even want to go while I was pledging. We had
Yeah,
events, and I was like,
uh,
"What am I gonna
I
do at the tailgate? What? Like stand around and
yeah,
be like,
parties are weird, dude. Like if you really sit back and think about it, it's like parties are people who are too afraid to talk to each other in real life, go to a party to inhibit themselves, and then dance like idiots, stand around and listen to really, really loud music that you
yeah,
can't have
they
conversations
yeah,
over.
yeah, that." And then there's also like a large group of people who just go to like judge the people who are drunk and dancing,
Yeah.
which is a
Or
good,
just like they go to be upset. It's
yeah,
like
it's a powerful dynamic that I love.
really strange environment, man.
So did I tell you I'm going back to school?
No, you're not.
No, no, I'm not. But I want to make sure I didn't
Right.
tell you that because if I did, I would have been lying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ethan's going back though.
My uncle, he check this out. My uncle wrote out a proposition. He really wants me to go back to school, and he came down like
So are you doing this just to piss your should you go back to school realistically, or are you
no,
doing this
no,
just to piss your uncle off?
what?
Like what is all right, let me hear the proposition. That's what I
Okay,
want.
yeah. What?
Yeah.
So he's just like the type of guy who thinks that in his mind he's just like, oh, it's just a good thing to do. Just get it out of the way, get it done.
Right.
That's like how he views it in terms of my life, and so. He's the one who owns this house, and then the other one that I've been working on and painting and stuff. And he
Right.
said, and he's gonna start Airbnb in that one. And he said, he'll rent this whole house to me for $600 a month plus utilities, and he'll give me a property management job with some sort of salary managing the Airbnb next door. Which would I just have like basic Airbnb responsibilities, such as managing listing, tenant communications, replenishment management, pre and
Right.
post inventory. And so yeah, that was his deal that he cut me.
If you go back to school,
Yeah, yeah. If I go back to school at Texas A&M,
how possible is that? Like how feasible is that realistically?
how I think it's in terms of like being able to be done. I think that's feasible.
Yeah, because you have a ton of credits that would just transfer over, right?
Probably. I don't really know as to like how transferable everything is, but I would assume at least most of it is.
Well, let's look at this realistically. Okay. So you don't you'd have to find a job after your live stream for a year, regardless. You'd have to find a way to monetize your stream in order to produce an income to sustain it. Okay. So that's one issue that you have. The second issue is that while I don't necessarily agree with this, and I think a lot of other people are very cognizant of this idea that like a degree doesn't make you more intelligent or certify any sort of skill in anything. What it does do is show people that you went through it, and it means a lot to the people who went through it and then started their own businesses and are hiring. It does mean something to those people, provided if that's the type of job you're going for. Okay. Maybe you go work at a cool company that doesn't need that or require that, or you show them that, you know, that doesn't really matter. And that's also very possible too. So you go back to school at Texas A&M if you do, right? You're going to hate it for a year.
Oh yeah. It would even looking at, so he was like, yeah, just take a look and like see how feasible it is. Even pulling
you're
up.
out of it. Wait.
Okay.
Track back.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
You're cutting out. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I was saying he told me just to see, like, he's like, yeah, just check it out. Just, you know, you don't have to do it, but just check it out and see how feasible it is. And just pulling up like the Texas A&M, like how many hours do you have to get to get a degree or whatever? Like just doing that alone, like almost made me cringe. Just looking at an EDU website again, and like
I would hate that. Like, dude, that's why I have to pass. Like, I have to pass every class this semester because I can't do another year. I can't do another semester.
Hold on, we have a guest.
Okay.
Dude, is it cool if Shelby comes by and grabs a book from my room?
Yeah, she's grabbing a book. You're a guest on the Hangout right now. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah. I really like Yummy Dino Buddies. Michael, I'm going. You know what? I'll tell the Hangout this. I'm going to Bloomington Bars tonight.
All right.
It's just like old times.
We'll drink a couple. I'll go with you, but can we just drink 2 hams before we go?
We don't have any hams, but
dude,
yeah, I can find the shittiest thing and put it in my body in a disgusting way.
Yeah, I'll go with you. Just can we drink 2 hams first?
Yeah, actually, I think I'm looking at the same C4 container that I vomited from right now, so I could use some of that too.
Okay, cool. Enjoy your bars.
Thanks, yeah.
Dude, that guy is so annoying. I feel like I can't get away from him sometimes. Like, I go downstairs and he's there somehow all the time.
Right, yeah,
it's weird.
Like almost like he's living. Dude, I mean, all right. So it'll suck for a year, but you come out.
Year and a half.
Year and a half. Okay,
yeah.
So it sucks for a year and a half.
Wait, is this for you or me? Which one are we talking about?
Maybe both. So for you, it sucks for a year and a half, and then you come out and you have a degree. You've won Fear Factor with your brother. You've live streamed your entire life for a year and amassed a fan base. Like, there's not gonna be much else that's gonna stop you in life. And I think that's an amazing. I think that's an amazing experience. And I think that like I'm reading this amazing book right now called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
you wash your glasses and you put them on.
Yeah.
You won't have a book.
Oh my prescription. God. They're just so I can look at a screen.
I know. I can tell. I'm reading this incredible book.
I'm reading this. Dude, seriously, this book is amazing. So this book is about. Are you familiar with this book?
I've heard of that author.
Yeah. So Viktor Frankl was a psychologist who lived in Austria. Who lived through multiple transitions to concentration camps. And his life was pretty much under threat until the very last day of the war, even upon liberation. And he then wrote this book 9 days after it, in which he talked about the psychology of people who lived in concentration camps and the group psychology, because he needed to find a way so that he wouldn't fall prey to like the circumstances. He needed to find a way to flip the situation so that he was, I could use this as a form of study.
Is this the guy who found out that the people who survived are the ones who had like things to look forward to.
What do you mean?
I remember hearing about. I don't know
No,
if
no, no. The people who didn't survive. That's the thing. That's one. It's the people who had expectations. They said, "I'll get out of here by Christmas." Those people died overwhelmingly. There's an overwhelming. He doesn't obviously have statistical numbers, but the rate of deaths after the holidays or during the holidays decreased substantially because people kept setting expectations that they weren't sure that they were going to meet. Basically, what it tells you, this entire book, is that have no expectations and accept everything, right? Not like accept everything as in say yes to everything, but have a certain type of resolute acceptance for the reality of your existence. And it is possible to find meaning within that suffering. And it goes back to a Dostoevsky quote, which is, all I want to be is worthy of my suffering, which is making it so that, like, even in an intense bout of suffering in life, I am worthy enough to make a decision that would not betray who I am and what I want to enact on the world and how I want to shape the world. And I think that that's an amazing, it's an amazing read. And it's not like one of those self-help literatures that's like I have another book actually that's kind of based on what Frankl talks about, but it's a more deep, it's called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Dr. Stephen Covey. And no, listen up. So he talks a lot about,
have you heard of How to Win Friends and Influence People? I would highly recommend it.
I have heard of that book. Yes, I have heard of that book. I started reading this in high school.
Okay.
And so that's why I have it. But he talks about Viktor Frankl a lot, and I never, he talks about like the idea of becoming independent versus becoming interdependent on other people and being proactive, putting the first things first. Or it's like begin with the end in mind, be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put the first things first. And that form of psychology is based on the field of existential psychology that Viktor Frankl founded in this book. And that's something that's like, so that's a very effective, like this book right here is a national bestseller, amazing, awesome book that people love. Right. And so then you dive a little bit further. It's based on the findings in this book. Like this book is such a powerful book, and I'm only halfway through it. But even being halfway through it, like when I keep reading it, I can't put it down because it's just passage after passage of incredibly insightful existential psychology. And I think you should check it out. But what were we talking about before this? You're talking about
how would you compare that book to the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance in terms of quality?
I think that the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, is more of a narrative piece which tries to derive the essence of what quality means and how humans perceive quality of experience and life and objects and aesthetics. This is more of understanding human psychology and your very own psychology and being present in the moment, and figuring and knowing when to act and when not to act, and stuff like that, and finding meaning in one of the worst parts of human history. I mean, absolute, like you read this, the about what happened in those camps, like it's so inhuman. Like it's literally like, I don't know how else to, it's so foreign to people. Like we have this idea that, oh, like they worked and that they were killed and that they didn't starve. But when you actually read the experiences and the people and understand just how intense of an experience that was and how like often they were beaten just for stumbling because their feet were swollen with gangrene in the freezing cold during the winter as they were laying railroad tracks, sustaining themselves on a piece of bread and a bowl of soup a day. And there's one passage where he says, there is no English words, or there is no words. There's no human word to describe the experience of of living as a skeleton in the freezing cold in the Bavarian woods and taking a frozen piece of bread out of your pocket and breaking a small piece off of it and putting it into your mouth because I don't remember the particular reason, but it's basically these people were put to it was here's where it really picks up is it talks about the idea of people having expectations and understanding what is possible and what is impossible is basically what it comes down to. So like it's like the idea until 1952 or 54, I mean maybe 45, I can't remember. It was thought that no human being could run a mile in under 4 minutes. And then one man did it. And then after that, the next year, 15,000 people did it.
I don't think that's the right number.
No, I'm serious. 15,000 people have done it, or something like that, or like not.
I know what you're talking about, but it was more of a trickle than that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay, maybe not within the next year, but you
15,000.
Yeah, but you understand the principle.
They were waiting. they were ready.
Yeah, exactly.
They were just waiting.
The principle is that like it's if somebody else, there's a very high probability chance that if you try enough, you can do it as well. And I think that's what comes back with the whole expectations things that he talks about in this book.
Well, let's loop this back to a discussion about either your or my or both of our college experiences in the future.
I need to buckle down and pass all of my classes this semester is what I have to do. And then I have to repeat that process next semester. And I have to find a job after school. That's just the reality like, of my life.
Why did you find a job after school?
I at least have to find a job to support myself while I can explore other endeavors and pursuits. But I don't have a choice. Like I have to do this. I've come too far and I've made it mean too much for me to kind of walk away. And I think everybody who has been a part of this experience with me wants me to do this. And it's more about
except for me. Everyone except for me.
You. Yeah, except for you. But I don't understand, I guess in your case, why you're so adverse to the college experience. I know that socially.
Wait, did you say you do or don't understand?
I understand it.
Okay.
Here's what I'll say. I can sympathize with it,
mm-hmm.
but I think I fail to empathize with it.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So I can sympathize with the fact that I understand that socially, academically, and basically in all aspects,
physically, mentally,
like college is a fucking bitch. But I don't think I'm empathetic to the idea that that just because it's that difficult, you should say fuck it and never do it.
Dude, I really feel like you are talking differently because you're wearing glasses.
No, I've had a really crazy last couple of sessions with Ken.
Okay.
Obviously, like reading this, it's pretty crazy. It's been pretty crazy. But yeah, so I had a friend Ryan who dropped out like end of his junior year, 4th year in school.
Mm-hmm.
And, he was right on the cusp of like the last year and he dropped out because of some sort of debacle that was happening with him and SJAX.
What did he do?
He did something really stupid where I think he had asked a police officer for a lighter to set a quesadilla on fire in front of the cop. And then they arrested him, and he was like under the influence of alcohol, he was fucked up. Basically, he was fucked up, and he was in the back of the cop car just shouting obscenities and shit to the cops, and they have it all on video.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so SJAX had intercepted that, or whatever they do, however that gets forwarded to them, and so they put him on some sort of probationary thing. And it was going well, and it was working on it, but he just kind of used it as a scapegoat to say, I no longer want to be in school, and he dropped out.
Dude, I should have lit a quesadilla on fire my freshman year. It would have saved me a hassle.
Yeah.
And my parents some money.
You should, I mean, I don't think you could go back to USC, but you should really, really, like, think about A&M.
Wait. I know this is provoking and this is a problematic chat, but oh damn it! It just got erased. I don't know.
What? Just say it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, someone said, "Is this the racist right wing guy?"
The racist right.
All right, that was just a joke though.
Yeah.
I maybe they were talking about me. You know, I have a cowboy
Yeah.
hat.
Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? But yeah, I don't think about it. Like honestly, give it an honest consideration. Because you've even said you don't know what you're going to be doing after this
Well,
experience.
here's what I could say. So you made the argument like you could add this to a list of achievements and it would like put you in a better place.
I think it would okay. Take away the part of put you in a better place. Let's take that out of the equation of like, hey, like this will accelerate your life.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the sense of accomplishment that you would feel as an individual.
I wouldn't feel any. I would feel like
You say that
so
now. You say that
disappointed.
I think you'd say that now because it's a foreign concept. I think you say it now because it's a foreign concept to you of going back and revisiting that. But I think, dude, imagine like you've achieved so much in your life without college. Get the fucking piece of paper so that everybody shuts up. And then fucking go live your life. Like that's honestly what I think you should do. That's what I'm doing. I'm getting the piece of paper so everybody shuts their fucking mouth. That's really what it is. You know, and I also was in a program that I don't think it would be smart of me to walk away from.
Sure.
I don't think it would be an intelligent a decision for me to walk away from the program that I'm in. But yeah, man, like imagine everybody, you know, you compile and layer up all of that expectations of other people, and then you get them to shut up, right? And that comes with a sense of pride. And then after that, you have a type of income that's from your family, so it's close, you know, it's regular, and you've amassed a following on YouTube already, which you can continue to put more work into.
Well, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to like towards the end of the year, I'm just going to start running ads really hard and I'm going to just try and like milk all the money out of my audience like immediately and as soon as possible before the project ends. So that the audience probably won't be around after that.
Okay. I think, yeah. All right.
I want to get like a couple $100.
Yeah, like $400.
I'm just going to force things on them and make them use my promo codes and stuff.
You guys want to use NordVPN?
NordVPN was messing up my stream last night. It kept going on and off. And my stream was...
Should I get a VPN?
I have no idea. I have one, but like, who knows if... I assume it probably hasn't helped me avoid any cybersecurity attacks. But I mean, I don't know. I guess peace of mind is worth something. So
yeah,
that's why I'm getting my degree, just to have the peace of mind.
Yeah. So what is your take on it? Like, what do you want to do? You've heard what I have to say. Like, what are you thinking about? And if you don't want to talk about that, you don't like. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you know, tell me.
Yeah, I mean, I think
change the topic if you want. Honestly, I'm not gonna pry, man.
I think the most important thing in my life is that I always try and think about like. I mean, I guess this is a couple things, and I can't really distill like a lot of it or like compartmentalize my thoughts actually like really well on this point. But I guess one thing I would say is
we'll take a second to try to formulate.
Okay, all right. I'll
take a second. And it doesn't have to be some crazy profound thing, just so that you have a comprehensive understanding of what you're saying and feeling.
Okay, I think like burger, salad, lettuce.
Salad, lettuce. Okay.
No, I think yeah, two things that are important to me is like I definitely want my life to be enjoyable because you can really die at any minute for any number of reasons, and it's best to enjoy your life as much as you can. And I would certainly be going through a year and a half of abject misery, like pain, suffering, hatred of my life. I would get worse at everything that I'm getting better at now. I would just crumple up and I would wither away mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically into.
I understand. Trust me, I understand.
So on that front, it would be bad. But I think the more important one is I always think about like opportunity cost or just the value of time itself. So like money aside, pretend that the college is free and stuff, or like pretend someone else pays for it, which wouldn't be the case if I went back.
Right.
Like time. I mean, you and I would both agree that time is valuable, and
Absolutely. It's the most valuable thing that we have.
and I think that these years, especially, I don't think people give them enough credit for the amount of value they have, and
Yeah, I would agree. I think that a lot of people kind of just coast,
and I
and
think
they fail to understand just how much of a defining opportunity this part of your life is. And I think that they fall prey to a lot of different like socio-normative things that kind of just essentially put them on autopilot, and then they're not really thinking for themselves. A lot of the times, and I think you're cognizant of that as well. I think you've seen that as well. Like there's a tremendous amount of people who fall into groupthink and never really claim an identity at this stage in their life, and then later on in life they have a whole
there's
emotional issues because
absolutely
they never.
it's a tidal wave of problems that hits them when it could have been a lot smaller of a wave. But
Right.
aside from that, I think that like just take this as an example. What if we had this same like call it an argument or discussion like last year?
I wouldn't say it's an argument.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Same debate last year, right? And it
Well, I'm
was
just playing devil's advocate.
I know, I like it. I'm glad you are. I would be yeah, so pretend we had this conversation last year, right? And it was you say like, listen, it's going to take a year and a half. You get it done. You can add it to your list of like accomplishments, and it's going to.
This time last year, I don't think I would have said that at all. Like I'm so much in like I said, I'm very understanding of why you dislike college.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of the same reasons that I dislike college, and it's just it's a fucking hassle. It's like a stupid hassle.
Pretend this, and I agree with that. But pretend this, like, pretend that you were a year ago mentally on the subject of college where you are now, and you advised me to do that, and I substituted this year of the project I'm doing for going to college, right?
Yeah.
Who's to say that would not be? Which I would you agree with me that I think that's a bad trade-off, right? Of time investment.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me develop that answer a bit.
Okay.
Right. So the thing though, the critical, I absolutely think that would have been a bad call, and I think that I and other people around you who really knew you encouraged you to do this because we knew that you would find success in it, and you were very dedicated to doing it, which you have been. But then the thing is there's a critical component that you're not like that you're kind of you're having a sunken costs argument. Like there's a critical component of what you're saying that you're kind of missing. It's kind of almost so timing is the biggest component, right? It's like at that time last year it would have been a bad call, but at this time now, who's to say?
But my argument is that who also is to say that what I do next year won't be equally, if not more valuable than what I did with this year.
Well, the thing is, why I believe you, why I'm not supporting, I guess not supporting is not the right word because I'm going to support you in everything that you do. Why I'm not encouraging that trajectory is because I haven't seen what you're going to do yet.
That's fair.
So you have to make my thing is like, if you have for this, you had a plan and you worked and you prototyped and you built it out. And because you did that period, I as somebody who prototypes and works and makes projects, understood that, okay, he's going through the motions that it would take to actually succeed in this project. And he's going to do it. But you haven't considered the next step yet, which is what comes after this, which there's no reason for you to have foreseen that or think about that in any sort of way or really plan for it. Cause it's so, this year was such a crazy experience. So like the ideas that you've had is I'm gonna put my dick on stream and play Fortnite was one of them.
Pretty much all.
Yeah. So I like you gotta find a way to evolve this or do another project after this. And then once you have that concretely understood, like I think I think you're fine, you know? Like dude, you're gonna be either regardless of what okay, it's really for you it really is a choice of enjoyment, right? Because it's like you're gonna succeed either way. So
right.
if you
so why would I do the one that
right.
is terrible?
I don't know because it might make it a little easier long game. You know,
That's a fair argument.
it might make
Maybe.
it a little bit easier in the long run.
It could.
You know, because you'll have a degree, which while you and I don't respect it, a lot of people in society do. And then two, you'll also have a means of income that's predictable and established, which you can build other projects off of with very minimal amounts of work.
But I would also have almost absolute zero when it comes to amount of spare time. So I wouldn't be building during that period of time. I wouldn't be doing anything else.
No, I mean A&M like it's not as hard of a school as USC, is it?
It's no, it's not. It's not. I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe it depends on your major, but I would have to do if I were to finish fast. I would have to be stacking a lot of credits up.
Right.
Because I left as a true like sophomore and a half or maybe sophomore and 3/4
Damn.
at max.
Right. Well, then if it's that far off, fuck it. Like
That's what I'm saying, man.
It's not worth it. You could find you could work a part-time job and make the same amount of money.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and you could always go if you really want it later. You could go back and get it later. But like if you're because here's the thing is you've put a lot of work into your channel, right? And you've grown it out. I think you should just keep doing that until you feel a need to evolve. That's what I truly think is what you should do and what it's going to happen. But I'm trying to, I guess, illustrate to you why other people think you should go back to school.
Yeah. I think you articulated those arguments in a fair manner.
Yeah. For me, I'm just trying to get out of school, man.
Dude, I am never going to stop thinking that it's funny what Steven said that one time. Like, that joke will never get old to me. That's so hilarious. Because it's so wrong. It's so not accurate at all. And the fact that he would tell you that is so messed up.
Out of all people that he would tell me like that, I wouldn't even
I'm sure it was obviously for him probably just an offhand comment, but
yeah.
I feel bad that anyone told you that.
I think what he meant to say is you should get the degree.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, just a bad choice of words.
Yeah, it's like because I think what he meant, like you of all people, he's like as a person that you are, you should get the degree because one, like the program that I'm in, it would be stupid to walk away from. It would be like, and that's the difference I think between your situation and my situation. In fact, no, I'm serious.
No, that is a good point. Yeah.
Like it would be a catastrophically idiotic idea for me to walk away from the opportunity that literally fell into my lap.
Unless you had something a lot better to pursue.
Unless it was like, unless it was something like so substantially better that I would have to take it, you know?
Yeah.
Like if it was a fast track into the industry that I want to do, or if it was some sort of viral content or something like that, or some sort of means of something, like some sort of semblance of something to pursue, you know what I mean? But like right now, the most worthwhile pursuit in my eyes is to get my degree, because once that's done, it's done forever. I never have to go back and do it again.
I think it's funny because I feel like the way that I talk to you about like dropping out of college and like you should not be like wasting, like I feel like that is the same conversation that people have with me about going back to college. You know what I mean? Like I give you what people give me, and I think that that's funny. And I am like, I can admire like the ability to endure like that. It's a bad experience, and I can admire that you are like putting yourself through that for a reason. But
This is like the last summer, like getting to 100 subscribers. That summer was the lowest point of my life, I think, so far. I'm serious.
Why?
Absolutely.
What made it low?
I was completely like I lived in the house.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't like go out and talk to anybody. I didn't hang out with anybody. I stayed in my room trying to work on my channel or streaming.
Yeah.
I didn't have an income. I was alone most of the time.
Yeah.
And my psychologist was like, dude, like that was your lowest point, the lowest point in your life, hands down.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, really? And he's like, yeah, the fact that you made it through that makes me feel like you can make it through almost anything. And so I was like, wow, that makes me feel a lot better. But like that was, that like that pretty much cost me a piece of myself. Like I had never been reduced to that small of a thing before. And that was, for me, that was like, wow, that is tough, because there's a lot of people who you would expect to support you in your endeavors that you know in real life, and none of them do that. You think that, oh, I know who I am. Like I know who I am and how I act regularly and stuff like that. And until you really spend like 3 months with yourself, you don't really know that. It was just overwhelmingly difficult in every single aspect of my life. And it was really hard. Like, I don't know. It was a super, super dark period. And I'm surprised that I even grew during that period to like what I have now.
What is that, like 5'9.5"?
No. Yeah, I'm like 5'9", 5'10". But yeah, no, seriously, like it was fucked up. It was really fucked up. Yeah. What are you gonna do after this? You have an idea?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna move into my car immediately after, but I don't really have like
No. I mean, like after because you keep saying that you want to end it after a year.
Yeah. I want to end it after a year. I want to take a break at the very least. I definitely want to take a small break.
Okay. What are you gonna do during that break? Just visit family and.
I think I'll visit family a little bit. I think the biggest thing is I need to like be aware and like take notes on my experience transitioning back into normal society, and not having a camera on my shoulder, and understand what that experience means, and like if it is a smooth transition or like I think it might be a pretty hard thing to figure out.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be. I don't think it's gonna be super easy. Yeah, because you constantly have people watching you, and there's constant engagement and stimulus, and then to shut that off, I think like after a week you're gonna want to pick it back up again. You know, I don't think you're gonna like take as long of a break as you think you are, or if you do, you're gonna be torturing yourself. Knowing you.
I think it's possible.
Yeah, I think it's possible, but why would you do that? I mean, why not just?
Well, I have to find out, obviously. So I have to take a break to know what normal life in society is like,
Right.
as a comparison. Because I don't.
Well, you just talk to me, and I could just tell you.
It sucks.
Yeah.
I don't like. I have gone through a lot of like mental change, and like from a base point of like chemicals alone, but like literally just like the way I think is definitely slightly different now than it was at the beginning of the year. Like I don't entirely remember what it is like to be in reality without a camera on my shoulder. Like I'm not only not used to it, I don't have like very clear, you know what I mean? Like
I feel that like coming out of the house too.
Yeah.
I don't know how to socialize with people regularly, like in a regular environment. It's honestly surprisingly difficult. I can sympathize with that too. I don't know what it's like to. Like I don't remember like this time last year I couldn't tell you where my head was at all. Like that guy's a completely different person than the person in front of you today, and I don't know what that's gonna manifest into. But it's like
That's interesting.
You know what I mean? Like I think for a long period of time I was kind of just hiding who the fuck I was for so long, trying to like meet the expectations of peers, and it was a completely fruitless pursuit. which is fine. You know, you live and you learn, and I'm happy that I learned that now
What do you think made you like aware of that in particular?
this past summer.
Like what I mean, what specifically made you aware of what you just said? If anything.
I think of the first few instances where like I had posted that I was gonna stream or something like that, or that like I wanted to do a podcast and it didn't happen because the other people canceled on me. uh, I think in those moments where it was like I realized like I'm fully doing this alone and nobody here around me really gives a shit about what I'm doing or supporting what I'm doing. Besides the people who are watching me and supporting me, and those have to be the people that I give a shit about, because if I don't, I'm gonna have virtually nobody, and that for me was like the hardest part
Yeah.
for sure. That was when I knew that it was like completely worthless. Like I looked at my Instagram and all my social profiles and all of these faces of people who I had met, who I thought would be in my life and stuff like that, and even people who I was close with. It never manifested it really into anything, even after a year almost.
Dude,
So
it is weird that like Ethan and were talking about this at one point in the last month. Like so many of the people that were in our lives are just like either out of our lives, or we just have no like interest in having them in our lives anymore. Like
yeah,
an extraordinary fraction.
an extraordinary fraction of people stay.
No, extraordinary fraction of people are like not in my life whatsoever
Oh yeah,
anymore.
oh
Or
yeah,
like,
okay.
you know, it's I don't know, it's weird. Like it used to I feel like it used to be easier to get along with like more people, but maybe this has to do with me and you and like the way that we are and changing and stuff too, but like I don't know, it's
There's just yeah, there's a lot of people who just didn't like don't fucking care. Like they never really gave it like and that to me tells me that like 9 times out of 10 somebody's not gonna give a shit versus actually give a shit. So
yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
or
like
like
there's
999,000 or something, you know, like
yeah,
way.
dude, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like there's people who like I'm supposedly supposed to have all of these close relationships with, and it's just like nothing,
All right,
nothing at all.
we're gonna take a 1 minute intermission for me to go pee real quick. If you
I'm
have
gonna
to.
get a cup of water too.
Okay.
I really gotta get a cup of water. Okay.
You can watch me pee if you want, Michael. Let's see what's going on in chat. I was reading some of it, but I obviously want to focus on what Michael was saying more than. Let's see. Michael could get a degree and pee on it. That would be a funny prank. That would be almost worth getting a degree and like spending. It would be funny if I like went into significant debt and like really rotted away my entire life to get a degree, and then I peed on it. That would be a funny joke. I would like that a lot, and I would make an Instagram post about that. But it probably wouldn't be worth it in terms of opportunity cost. How long is... I think that Marv's offer is probably I think that will probably change once he gets someone to do Airbnb in my place if I didn't do it. So I would say it's probably an immediate offer that would end after January or February or whenever the Airbnb starts. Hey, Michael, welcome back.
Hey, how's it going?
I want to read a couple ads.
Okay.
1999 tire and oil change rotation at Earl Rudder Freeway South. That's 979-691-2900.
Okay.
Includes filtering up to 5 quarts of conventional motor oil. Other oils are available at other costs. TPM has to be where applicable. Change for additional parts services needed. Shop fee of 10% based on non-discounted regular retail price not to exceed $35. Most vehicles, no cash value, not valid with other offers. Price subject to change. See store for details. Expires 11/30/19.
Yeah. Good ad read. What are
I
you drinking then?
started drinking again. Did I tell you that?
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. It's just sparkling water. What would you say? What would your response be?
That's all you, man. That's not. I had like a case of beer like a month and a half ago, and because I guess I regressed a little bit, but I don't feel compelled to drink. I don't want to drink. There's times in my life where I'm like, man, I really wish I had something to kind of just like numb what I'm going through, but
Yeah, I feel that.
you know, I'm not gonna like forego all of the progress that I've made so far in the, just for like an immediate and impulsive drunkenness. But yeah. That's it. I think like I don't know. I guess I'd be a little bit disappointed if I heard that you started drinking.
Would you feel like I let you down?
No.
Okay.
No.
Where would your disappointment stem from?
I don't know. I think it would just be because we talked about it so heavily.
Yeah, we did
You
talk
seem
about it a
really
lot.
passionate about it.
Yeah.
To see, at the end of the day, like I want the best for everybody. So it's, I mean, to an extent, right? Like I don't want the best for somebody who's a serial killer and an asshole.
Yeah, or like Tom Holland, right? You don't.
I don't even know who that is. But like I think like if I had seen that that trend started to go, it would, for me, it'd be like, okay, I can kind of see where this is going, and this is going to become an issue at some point for that person. Like if they started drinking, and I think like everybody who drinks at a certain point is like it becomes a problem. So
Maybe a
why would
small
you do
problem, maybe a big problem.
maybe a small problem,
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe a huge problem. For GP, it was a huge problem. I had a huge problem with drinking.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I remember. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I would drink all the time. I'd go out 4 or 5 nights a week, and I'd get fucking hammered.
Dude, I spent like almost a year straight like being intoxicated almost every day.
Yeah, which is ridiculous to me because I had never done anything like that before, and for
Same.
me to have the expectation that like I would be okay in that.
You just keep going. Yeah, I didn't have that expectation, to be fair,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was definitely an interesting lifestyle. I was watching back. I don't know. I think that me and Ethan watched your vlog of the ARW shoot, and I definitely don't regret, and I definitely have like very fond memories of those times, regardless.
I don't have any fucking like I don't have regrets.
I love I think it's awesome, and whatever people make the argument like whatever happened got you to the place where you are, and I think that's true to a certain extent as well. So I can't complain, but like I really do like I still will cherish some of those like fun like drunken and absurd memories.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, especially some of the ones with like you and your brother, or me and your brother too.
Yeah.
At times where you and I got fucking drunk, like the thing with ARW, the time we fucking did an interview with her, it was crazy. Like there's so many key elements that I at the time probably didn't appreciate at all.
Yeah.
And then now going back and looking at them, it's like, wow, like I've led an amazing life. I'm very fortunate. And so, like that's amazing. So for me to have regrets, You know, like I've obviously made mistakes, and I try to learn from my mistakes, you know. But for me to like keep beating myself up and regretting, that's something that I've tried to stop doing, because it's bad. It's a deep dark hole to fall into.
Yeah, regret is like, that's a tricky topic.
That's a tricky business. It's a tricky business.
It's tightrope.
Tightrope, very tightrope. What are people saying in chat? I feel like we've been neglecting chat a bunch.
Yeah, I think they're saying like, I was gonna make a political joke, but I'm not gonna do it. I'll just tell you what's actually going on. People are talking about the college thing. They were commenting. Mostly, it looked like a lot of them taking your side, but then just kind of saying in general, like, you know, maybe if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and then just asking some questions and stuff. But
well, dude, college is not for like, we have this like Americans have this terrible perception that college is for everybody. And it's not. It's so not. Like, college is not for everybody. Not everybody belongs to college. Or not everybody should pursue college. It's a lie. It's a fucking total lie. Like, 40% of people who get a college degree end up doing what their degree entails. That's an overwhelming, like, that's 60%. More than half the people don't. And they end up finding a job in some sort of, like, loose thing. Like, there's you and I think what it is because now America exports education literally, and colleges they're not learning institutions as much as they were. They're more vendors for education, and they're more businesses now.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
companies.
Totally
fair. You know, because everything in America eventually becomes a business. You know, so
speaking of that, let me take a quick break to read our second ad, which is $5.
Yeah. But yeah, like the guy who could get a trade job and make $120,000 a year with a union pension afterwards, like, he doesn't need to go to college. College isn't going to enhance his experience. He could start his life immediately after high school. And like, it's just stupid. Like, it's not for everybody. The only reason I went to school and stayed in school was because of the program that I got into. I think if I hadn't at the time, I might have done something drastic, like join the military, or who the fuck knows what I would have done.
Dude, you should have done international relations with me. It's a great major, and you and I would have really been excellent diplomats.
I know, right? Yeah, I tried to get into double major in what I was doing in international relations, global business at a period of time, like
IRGB.
Yeah, fucking ridiculous, dude.
I almost did that, but I didn't want to do the math part, and so I just didn't do it. I didn't want to take another math class ever. I had decided once I graduated from high school that I was never taking another math class, regardless. So that was the start of the fall, the beginning of the end.
I had decided like so many things after that. I was never gonna like force myself to learn information that I would never use. That was one
that's
thing
a good one.
That was a promise that I had made to myself.
Yeah.
Is I would look at, and I think to an extent that honestly made me end up in like a dark place, because I started to say that virtually everything is meaningless, which a lot of the college, everything you're told in college is contrived, meaningless bullshit. That's true. But there's also, if you really, really want to truly dive into something, there is a lot of opportunity for learning. But seldom, that's a very rare thing. I would say there's a few professors which I've had that experience with. Like, I could count them on a hand compared to the amount of classes and the amount of interactions I've had with other professors at the university. That's almost kind of sad, you know? But yeah, like I decided I was never gonna and that I started to realize too, because I would start getting heated about like political conversations and stuff like that in class. And I started to realize what I'm saying right now, or what any of these people are saying right now in class, doesn't mean a fucking thing. It's never gonna mean anything. Why should I give a shit? And like, why should I become invested into something that's gonna, at the end of the day, give me virtually nothing? And so I kind of just said, fuck it, like, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm gonna stop doing that. You know?
Who are you voting for in 2020?
I didn't vote in 2016. I don't even know if I'm gonna vote in 2020.
Who do you like? Do you like anyone?
Nope.
What about your parents?
I don't know. I don't stay in the loop. I like.
No, I
Andrew Yang.
mean, do you like your parents? Would you vote for them to be president? Is what I meant.
Oh no, absolutely not.
You like Andrew Yang?
I think Andrew Yang's. I mean, I think if my honest opinion is there's a lot of support for Donald Trump this early in the election cycle. The Democrats have put themselves in a really tough spot, and the one guy who actually knows what the fuck is going on is Andrew Yang.
Dude, he's the only guy. Why is he the only person who knows what's going on?
He's the only like Joe Biden. Why? No, I don't give a fuck. He's old.
Dude, everyone's too old.
Like ancient,
dude, I
old.
want to take this moment to say that I am ageist. And I think that
you absolutely should be.
Your mental faculties, they begin to decline at a certain point, and you shouldn't be in charge of the most important country in the entire world. You shouldn't.
Your mental faculties, you also become disassociated
Yep.
to current trends.
Oh,
the
God.
only thing, I think Trump is a little bit of an anomaly to that because that guy has so much fucking energy. I don't know if they're feeding him coke or what it is, but that dude is all over the fucking map, right?
Doesn't change the fact that he's absolutely doesn't change the fact that he's absolutely too old and probably senile to a certain extent. Doesn't change the fact.
Absolutely. Oh my god, yeah, he's so fucking. He's absolutely senile to an extent. He's absolutely too old to be running in the information age. That's the thing. In the information age, you're gonna have Joe Biden go up there.
Yeah.
The guy who has an intern write his fucking Twitter post. That's the guy. You're gonna have that guy go up and lead a country into the information age at a time when AI is gonna replace almost.
It's so crazy, man. Dude, I actually didn't get it, and then I think I got it a little bit after I watched a very small clip of a debate. Why Andrew Yang isn't winning or just doing well in general.
He speaks at such a high level. He speaks at a level that's too high for a lot of people to really comprehend or want to get invested to.
And when he's in a debate, he has to change whoever his political people analysts or whatever are in his team is whatever it is they're telling him, and maybe they're right, maybe they're not. I don't know how America actually works, but they're telling him to dumb things down, and they're telling him to be presidential and stuff. And
that's stupid.
It's bad. I don't like watching it. It's
it's contrived.
Absolutely,
dude.
Yeah.
Contrived bullshit. Donald Trump was elected because American people don't want politicians.
Yeah.
They're tired of politicians.
I think that's accurate.
Andrew Yang should be authentic to who he is. He should be an engineer and a scientist, and that is what will get him elected because that is what people were interested in from the get-go.
I mean, if you listen to a podcast with that guy, and then
he's fucking brilliant.
Oh my god, he just gets it. That's just it. He just gets it.
He absolutely understands. He's read all of the literature that you're supposed to read to understand.
But then after watching him on a debate, I was like, I get it. I get why people aren't picking him. I get why he's not winning the polls.
He's not the fact.
It's a different person.
It's a different person.
Yeah.
It's not authentic. We want authenticity and we want information. That's what we want.
But to be fair, that is what you and I want. And I think that what you said is accurate, but maybe your diagnosis is wrong and you do actually have to dumb things down to win the election.
I agree with that. I think to a certain extent, there's some sort of things that you have to dumb down in order for the average person to even listen to them, to consider them, and to hear them and comprehend them. I agree with that. But there's also another thing that I think you're not giving a lot of attention to, which is what Americans in this day and age crave for more than anything is authenticity and information. Authentic, true, factual information coming from a reliable source. And it's enough for people to get passionate about a guy like Andrew Yang, right? And I think that passion... I'm not even going to say that I know that passion for something is contagious. that most of the time it's a group of 20% at a base who are going to get the rest of the 80% in there. It's like a video game. It's like there's a small portion of players who fucking love the game and they're super passionate about it.
Yeah.
And then the game blows up because people see how much fun these people are having because they're so passionate about this experience. And I think that idea, like that passion, is very transferable.
Yeah.
I think like that's the problem. Is like the more that he abandons what made people passionate about him, in order for the sake of dumbing down the information and the message, I think that sacrifices a lot of what made people interested in him in the first place.
Yep.
I think
That's right.
It's not his job. I don't think it's his job to educate the American people. I think it's his job to highlight issues, to explain them accurately to people. And if they don't comprehend it or understand it, they should learn about it because it's something that's going to affect their life. And
it's not even necessarily dumbing things down, but like very small changes in terms of like trying to speak with like a certain voice and just like things that just differentiate you
and shit like that. That like
say that again.
Like how he enunciates.
Yeah. Just changing like small things that make you a little bit artificial.
Yeah.
It's just enough to like make it enter the realm of being slightly uncanny.
I think that worked for Obama, and the reason I think that worked for Obama is because
I think that's Obama though. I think that's literally who Obama is.
Literally Obama too. Obama's a very like soft-spoken, very precise in his language, and enunciates very clearly. That's who Barack Obama is. And I think people like that about him because Bush was a president, a fairly decent president. I don't know. I don't really know the history. I'd assume that he was a decent president in the beginning and at least middle of his terms because there's so little complaint about him at that time. I don't know. It was at a time where I didn't even fully comprehend politics. I had no idea. But I think that's a big part of the reason why Obama was elected is because he is a very well-spoken guy. But I don't think that that's going to work for a guy like
But well-spoken, but authentic in being well-spoken. So
his delivery, like exactly. But I don't think that approach works for a guy like Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang's a fucking engineer. Like he should talk like an engineer. He should be an engineer.
Or entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur, yeah. But more so an engineer.
Maybe a little both.
Which I think at this point they're kind of becoming synonymous, right? It's like people who make things are inherently entrepreneurial at this point in time. And engineering is so related, like it's so related to technology and stuff that's being sold that it's almost inherently like everybody back in the 80s and 90s was getting into business because business degrees, like everything was about trading and business and stocks and the dot-com bubble. But now everybody's getting into engineering because in engineering it's like the new business degree. It's like if you want people to take you seriously in a field, and you should get an engineering degree because it's a lot more work, it's a lot more understanding of an idea, and design and engineering are much more important in any sort of process than a lot of people give cadence to. And so I think at this point it's kind of like, you understand what I'm saying? It's like a new.
Like sure. No, I think that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, no, like I don't like I didn't know that because I haven't been following it. I honestly I've been saying that.
Me neither for the most part.
Because I'm not angry. I'm not frustrated. The only thing I get angry about is fucking playing Call of Duty. That's the only thing that I get somewhat angry about, and my anger amounts to like, oh come on, dude, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm kind of upset to hear that. Like I don't like that.
Yeah, it bothered me a little bit too.
Yeah.
Made me sad. It's a little bit of a loss of hope. You know, you see, like I couldn't, if I were to make a candidate that I really liked, I couldn't make a better one than Andrew Yang this year. Like,
yeah. At least as somebody who has a full, like, again, it's back to that ageism argument that we have. It's like, this guy knows what the fuck is going on. He's much more informed. Like that idea that the older generation is more informed and knows what's going on more so than the younger generation, that's over. Like the information age has made that completely obsolete. That's the young people who interact with the technology and the information on a daily, consistent basis, much more so to the extent of their parents, that are going to be far more informed and cognizant of what is going on than like their parents who are 40 and 50. It's just It's a ridiculous. It's like these people aren't even in the same ballpark. They're not even in the same ballpark in terms of understanding. And like I think that like I'm pissed off about that. I mean, I'm not pissed off about that. But I'm not, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, have any of his platforms changed or anything? Like, is it just that part of it?
Well, I think unfortunately, in part of like dumbing down or making it like making it something that you can bring to the debate stage, he's kind of like just refocused only on the few platform points. It's like all the strategies that you would see from someone trying to win, you know? So it's like take the opportunity. I literally watched 5 minutes of him or less on debate. And so like, this is a lot of extrapolation, but in the 5 minutes, he took the time to, it was addressing the freedom dividend immediately. That was the main point. And like,
what is the freedom dividend?
That's where he gives everyone $1,000 a month for, where he gives everyone $1,000 a month, which in my mind is like, it seems like a good policy and down the right route, but like is by far not even close to the most important thing that he brings to the table.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that they're saying that because the Democrats are like, oh, like Andrew Yang will buy us votes in a way. You know what I mean? With this freedom dividend idea of I get an extra $1,000 of income a month. So that's probably why they're pushing that.
Yeah.
But what Andrew Yang brings to the table in terms of his understanding of technology is absolutely substantial for informing. Like,
oh my God.
It's so substantial for informing how we shape our economy, like for the rest of time.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
The rest of at least human existence.
We are
right?
beyond fortunate to have access to a candidate at this point. Someone who ended up as a political candidate who has the level of understanding that he does. We're beyond fortunate to have that in the race.
Like UBI and the freedom dividend, I think they could be problematic. I think they could be fucked up. I think they could be pushed a little bit too hard and become too much of a talking point. AI is the biggest thing that Andrew Yang, because people haven't understood this yet because they've been told like since the 80s that the machines are going to rise up and take over people. And it's not going to be like, I doubt, I mean, it could be, but I doubt there's going to be, Terminator robots walking around with plasma rifles. What it's more going to be is machines replacing your income, replacing your means of income. And there's a book, I forget the name of the book, but I wrote a paper on this because we talked about this last time. I wrote a paper on this. By 2040 or 2050, it's like 40 to 50% of the jobs fucking gone, eliminated.
Yeah.
Truck drivers gone, eliminated.
And it's funny because like that's a prediction, but like we don't know what's actually going to happen, and it could be less, but also could be like a lot more. We don't really know. We have no idea. We have no idea. And to also just be able to acknowledge that we don't have any idea what's going to happen, and like that things are going to exponentially increase in terms of change.
Yeah.
That's a simple acknowledgement that like people aren't making. That other candidates, people aren't making that. Like,
nobody's talking about that.
Everything is changing so fast.
Like Google just had a successful computational compute. Google do you understand the implications of that? Google just did the amount of calculations that it would take an equivalent digital computer 10,000 years to complete in a matter of minutes. Like 5G is coming. That's another big thing. Like people don't get this. Like people don't understand. These things are fucking game changing.
It's crazy, man.
The internet was game changing.
Yeah.
Right? The internet marks a steady increase of constant game changing shit.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like and like that's the thing that like is really upsetting, I think, because it's like I don't know, like I don't know how to make people care about that. Like I don't know how to illustrate that to people. Like this guy from Activision, Mike Sanders, we were talking about him earlier. He developed an animation pipeline where you never have to touch an animator. It never has to touch an animator, and half of it can be done by AI. That's an entire job in cinema that's gone.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Gone.
That's
like one of the highest paying jobs in cinema. Gone.
That's hilarious.
In the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Rendered almost entirely obsolete.
I mean, dude, that's why I'm doing, like, that's part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like, if we, like, I have no idea. Say, pick any degree from any school. I have no idea it's
completely
it's
agree with you.
50-50 if there are going to be jobs in that
It's like
industry.
a 70-30 at this point.
If you are not creating something new, you're not guaranteeing that you're going to have a job at some point.
You're out of the game.
You have a chance of being removed as a player.
Immediately, like that.
Yeah.
Like you have a chance of having your entire career perspective completely destroyed and eliminated
With no capability of doing anything
within
about
a span
it.
of a month or a week. Not
Yeah.
Like,
It's
like,
crazy.
that's why I'm really why I'm getting my degree is because I want to make my parents proud. Is really what it is. Is that my dad's been paying for me to go to this school. I want to graduate to make my father proud. But when I come out, like, you know, I want to try to work for companies like Activision and stuff like this and get hands on these technologies. Because if I'm in the backseat and I'm learning what these technologies are and I'm not making these technologies, like I can be replaced immediately.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Like,
funny. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's a good point.
If I'm not on the cusp and the forefront the entire time, then I'm out of the game.
Yeah.
At a certain point, and that's like why. That's why I'm doing this. But dude, like, you're absolutely right. Like, you're absolutely right. Like, what would you like if you were to go to A&M? What would you even do? Like, within the span of 5 years, the economy is going to be so drastically different.
Yeah.
Like, even in that small time period, but by the time it gets up into the 2020s, 2030s, 2040s, it's going to be completely radically different.
All right. So we have someone.
And we're also.
I have space. No idea from chat says no. You can't be replaced immediately. Dash. It depends on the job. Calm down.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. That's what we're trying to say. Is we're trying to say that it depends on the job. Like a lot of trade jobs can't be replaced. A lot of college jobs, like accounting, calculator.
I think
calculator, like, dude, get the fuck out of here.
All right, but there are more human elements to that. But I think that it is literally just a matter of time, and it like the things that we think now, like like robots can they couldn't do that 5 years ago, but now they can do it. But like those things, it's a shorter periods of time where our understandings of what's possible are broken, and like for us to say right now. If plumber, we're not gonna have plumbers get replaced by robots. Like that's silly. Like what? That's gonna be forever. Like that could happen within 10 years. It's possible for that to happen within 10 years.
Boston Dynamics could do that if they could start that project tomorrow and have a deliverable that they could introduce to the marketplace. That's the reality.
Like to say, and I also think that like I think that saying "calm down" is funny. Like it. We shouldn't be calm, man. It's like it's gonna change faster. It's changing faster every year, and it's gonna keep changing faster. That's the simple reality.
You shouldn't be like lackadaisically like, oh man, they can't replace everything. Yeah, they can.
They can literally replace everything.
There's somebody who is intelligent enough and once determined enough to find a solution to a problem, they will do it, and they will set a precedent. And once that precedent is set, it's going to be incredibly hard for that precedent to be reverted or changed.
Yeah,
like,
and
you know what I mean? Like that's.
So here's another message from I have no idea. It can report data, analyze data, but it can't incorporate decision making when it comes to human impact, e.g., marketing, advertising, etc. Jobs that are repetitive with no skill are at the forefront.
Yeah, he's right about that. But at a certain point, machines are going to be able to like the machine learning and prediction element is like the forefront of AI, right? Like people are going, how do we make these, like especially in automobiles, the whole like moral dilemmas about accidents. It's like there's an old lady on the side of the road, and there's also if you turn right, you'll kill somebody, but if you turn left, you'll crash and maybe kill the passenger.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I would want my car to protect my interests regardless if I purchase that piece of equipment and technology. That piece of technology should protect the owner of it, is really what it should be. That's the only real even way to make this debate, is that if you purchase it, it should have your best interest in mind. Second to that, and that's a people are gonna like want to expand on that. But second to that, it's like the decision-making capabilities of AI is the reason that we're getting invested into AI. the like, especially in terms of trading and markets, like the reason that stockbrokers and stuff like that have developed such an interest in quantum computing and artificial intelligence is because the immediate ability of it to make a crucial decision that could develop $1 million investment.
Yeah, is so much more substantial than a
much more
human's ability.
substantial than a human's ability to have to predict like certain types
Like,
of things.
I think we should not discount the fact that it is like a well-known reality that is not even an exciting development anymore, that computers have beaten humans in the most challenging games that have ever existed. Like chess. What's that game called? It's like Go, the Chinese game. Yeah.
Like the Python and machine learning beat fucking world champion players at Go, which has, I think, over like 100 million different combinations of ending win states for the game. Dude, chess. Think of chess, right? Watson, IBM Watson is the computer that beat the best player. I think it was a Russian man from the Soviet Union, because during the Soviet Union, like if you knew how to play chess, that could get you pretty much anywhere. Like chess was a huge deal in the Soviet Union, to the point where they would put people in like powerful positions just because they had a very, very good ability to play chess well. Like Russia became all about chess, and Watson fucking destroyed this guy. Like, it beat his ass like within a fraction of the amount of time that a human could have done it. And that's the thing, is
Watson the first? I thought it was like Deep Blue or something, or I don't know,
or something like that. Well, I would assume it was Watson, just because that's the only supercomputer from IBM that I know. But that doesn't diminish, I think, what I'm saying.
Yeah,
which is that if it's a quantitative thing, a computer is already able to do it so much more substantially than a human being can.
Yeah.
And when it starts now, and eventually once that quantitative like understanding of the world, it begins to expand to the level of aesthetics and design, there's not going to be a whole lot that humans are going to be able to do better than a robot, given a certain amount of a design pipeline that develops a solution to complete that problem. You know, like they're already using AI to develop more aerodynamic aircraft wings.
Yeah, like so many intricate problems that,
like tires that never pop, scaffolding that is more structurally resilient. Like think of all the time. Like think of it this way. Humans invented cans in like the 1800s, like during the Civil War, like around the 1850s. It wasn't until like 19 something that they invented the fucking can opener. Like, do you understand how long of a period of time that is to develop something that is so inherent to the opening of a can now as a precedent of technology? An AI would develop a solution like the can opener in that 50-year. It'll take that 50-year design pipeline and condense it down to fractions of a second.
Okay, now I do want to move on, but just to jump back to it, I have no ideas.
1,000 years in a week of computations it can do.
So I have no idea. This I think is probably the last thing we touch on here. It said Deep Blue beat him because Deep Blue has programmed with the moves of all chess player champions it partnered with. It had parameters to work within from the greatest players who ever lived. But like just to sort of invalidate that example, like that, when did that happen? Like the 80s? Like when did Deep Blue like? There is no, you could have something in the size.
Even still, he kind of proves our point, which is like it won because it had a memory bank of all of the moves of all of the famous chess players in the world.
Dude, someone could absolutely.
A human can't do that. A human can't, at a moment's notice, pull out of it their fucking ass like the best fucking maneuver in a chess game.
I am confident that something this size could beat any human on planet Earth in chess right now. Like, this is all it takes.
With 5 to 10 years, something that small would demolish anybody's ability to play chess.
Or to be an accountant, maybe in 15 years.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Dude, like the reason to go, oh, it only won because it knows everything. Well, yeah. Yeah, it's one because it literally fucking knows everything.
But that point he's making is that it didn't necessarily think its way through the problem. But when you take that example and then move to like the next logical ones, and you end up at like a point of the machine that beat the player in Go, like that machine is coming up with moves and ways to win. Oh, and same with the machines that beat people in League of Legends. These machines are creating new strategies on their own, making up things that humans haven't thought of to beat the bastards.
To beat the people who we literally pay these people, like for League of Legends, we pay them tens of millions of dollars in world championships to play at a super, super high level. And this computer is kicking their fucking ass with strategies that they haven't seen before at a professional level.
Yeah.
At its first or second iteration, like that's what it's an iterative thing.
Yeah,
like,
so early, and
so early. It's like, and that's the thing. Is like the entire thing about this discussion of AI is we go, oh, like it can do this, it can do that. We don't know how to apply it. It's like, yes, we do. We're doing it already, and how we apply it is its ability to understand things and do things repeatedly and learn from it, and then take that information and develop an actionable solution. No. What it does is it accelerates design. Design is an iterative process of making decisions to find a solution. AI completely accelerates that process by going, this is what worked more effectively, and this is what worked less effectively. And the faster that we can find that compute, right, of the amount of iterations that can happen, the more powerful AI is going to be. And that's why Google Quantum is such a big deal, because they took 10,000 years and did it in a minute. So that's 10,000 years of iterations of a device, say a smartphone or a pencil. Let's say a fucking pencil, okay? It's 10,000 years of iterations on the best way to develop the most comfortable, best erasing, best writing pencil.
Yeah.
And it did it in minutes.
Yeah.
Minutes. You're going to tell me that, like, Joe Schmo, who went to Stanford, is going to come out of the woodwork and be like, I made a pencil that's better than this fucking robot. No, dude, this robot is going to develop a writing experience that changes the goddamn game.
All right, now, because I don't want to harp on this for too much longer, yeah. I want to actually shift directly to harp. And I want us to get, I want us to sort of like take away all of the legitimacy that people could have given to our previous conversation by just also lending our names to something that is just completely ludicrous. So let's do that, and let's.
Well, it's not that ludicrous. It's not that ludicrous if you think about it. You scroll up. Scroll down, please. As you can see, we have some lighting there above a picture of 9/11. There's a moon landing. I think everything here is obviously really obvious.
Dude, why aren't these pictures? Why aren't people doing something about this? Like, this is obvious. I mean,
they obviously faked the moon landing to bankrupt the Soviet Union so that they would spend. It's like Interstellar. It's exactly what they said in Interstellar. Where they said that the moon landing was fake to bankrupt the Soviet Union.
Hold on a second. Is this proof that the military is controlling the weather? Let's find out.
I'm ready to find out.
Footage of an eerie glowing line of oranges.
Oh, man. Okay. Yo, Michael, I know you probably think this is a joke, but you gotta give some cadence to what this guy's saying, okay? As you noticed, he noticed a thin cigar-shaped object. Where did we see cigar-shaped last time?
Oumuamua.
Yeah.
Dude, is Oumuamua around still? Can we talk to him?
I don't know, dude. Maybe next time. I don't have the voice change.
Damn it.
Dude, I was thinking about Oumuamua the other day. That motherfucker's wild.
Yeah, NASA. I mean, they could have been more welcoming.
Yeah, to Oumuamua. They didn't have to put him on blast like that on Twitter, on the gram. They didn't have to put Oumuamua on blast on the gram like that.
This is footage of Super Secure Team 10. Dude, Secure Team 10! Yes! More Team 10. in our conspiracies. All right, let's see what they have to say on YouTube.
Dude, they obviously named themselves Team 10.
Whoa,
Okay.
whoa,
Whoa, wait a second.
whoa.
This is just
Government censoring? I think so.
censoring, Mark. Nice
I
try,
think so.
DARPA.
Yeah.
We know exactly what you're up to. Dude, that's the funny thing. I forget the name of the paradox, but it's basically a paradox that says to any headline, if you can answer if the headline poses a question, the answer is probably like no. Right?
That's funny.
You know what I mean? It's like think of something like, is it possible to break into Area 51 on a ripstick? No, right?
Well,
So,
let's
like,
not jump to conclusions.
Yeah. You're gonna watch the video to find out.
I want to know.
No, the answer is no.
Okay, now, Mr.
I think the same thing can be said kind of oppositely about like government conspiracy, because I was watching this documentary about DARPA, and they were like, do you want to tell us about like I don't know, some sort of stealth aircraft, like what kind of stealth aircraft you're developing? Have you developed this? And they name a specific technology, and the guy goes, oh, I don't even want to go down that road. I can't go down that road to talk about that. It's like, you just acknowledged that, you just confirmed my suspicion that you're working with that technology by avoiding the fact that you want to talk about it.
You know what? I actually want to bring this back to you and address something. I want to know what your thoughts are on this. What was the guy's name? Is the alien dude that you were talking about for a while?
Bob Lazar.
Yeah. What's your stance on Big B?
Big B. I think Big B is the
after we
a gateway drug.
hold on. First, I want you to. I should have read this first. Mr. Chang noticed this thin cigar-shaped object out the window, surrounded by flashes of lightning. Conspiracy theorists believe it could be evidence of it. Okay, I just wanted to get that so everyone knew what was the. Okay, so yeah, tell me what you think about.
He has a very compelling story.
It seemed like you were on board with him last time I talked to you about it.
He has a very compelling story, and there's nothing that he has said that has been overtly, I would say, denied. Like, his story has been consistent for a really, really long time. There have been a lot of elements of his story that have been verified over time, and it hasn't changed. Like, you're telling me that if you made up a lie, you make up a lie, right? And say you try keeping a lie for a fucking year. You're gonna tell me that this guy has kept a lie for 20 fucking years?
Some people live lies since they were 11.
Yeah, but I mean, the story hasn't changed once. You know what I mean? Like, some people live lies their entire life.
Well, all you have to do to achieve that would be, right now, you and I could both achieve this by, if we drafted identical paranormal experience, like we wrote the same thing, you and I both wrote the same thing. This would make it even better if we corroborate each other's stories. Or
nobody.
No, hold on. But if we wrote a story, right, and we were detailed and we wrote it out, and then we read it frequently and we internalized the aspects of it and stuff, we would have no problem being able to tell that story and answer questions about it for the rest of our lives if we wanted to. We could just make something up.
I don't agree with you. And here's why I don't agree with you. Is because I performed in musicals where I sat and I rehearsed for months to learn the same fucking portions of dialogue. Right? Mm-hmm. And if you asked me a month after that musical to go back and say them, I couldn't remember them. I don't remember really any of them.
But did you remember them while you were on the musical stage?
On the musical stage. But here's the thing. Here's the difference between that experience and Bob Lazar. Is Lazar came to the public light in the 80s and then was forgotten about until now.
But what was he doing for the whole time? He was still telling a story to people. He every single time he met someone.
He stopped.
He never told anyone. He wasn't.
Well, no. What would happen was he told his story, and then he got a lot of press about it. Apparently, the government came after him, and it became so much of a stress in his life that he began to ignore it, and he began to stop talking about it. And that's why it was such a big deal for him to come on to Joe Rogan's podcast and talk about it, is because he doesn't do that. He doesn't rehearse it. Like, you're going to tell me that he would outwardly say and have like a very public breakdown of how he doesn't want to talk about this shit anymore because people aren't listening to him and they're all trying to come after him and prove him wrong. And then 20 years later, like he would have that public outcry and then for 20 years rehearse his story every day in the mirror and then come on Joe Rogan's podcast and tell this incredibly long, elaborate lie, right?
Yes.
Where there are portions of the story that have been verified as fact at this point.
Which is like the discovery of like one element. Okay, here's what I would say.
It's the discovery of the element. It's the hand sensors that he said would read the inside of the bones in people's hands that came out, and he said that those things existed, that they looked exactly like this. And then what happened is later, it came out. I forget in some sort of leak that these things. Nobody said that technology doesn't exist. The technology doesn't exist, and it doesn't look like that. It does. It does. It comes out 10 years later that it does. There's other portions of his story that just like I haven't familiarized myself with it in a while, but dude, for me it's for me as somebody who I guess wants to believe. I'll admit I want to believe in aliens. I want to believe in Area 51.
Okay.
Because I think that me wanting to believe and me wanting to see these things is me at a certain point saying I want my understanding of this universe to be expanded.
Yeah.
Right? And I think everybody wants that.
I think I think that aside from any like thing that goes beyond that, I think the biggest differentiating factor is just either wanting to believe it or not wanting to believe it, and like
right.
I think
exactly.
I think it's important.
Exactly. But the thing about is you cut out a little bit there. I'm sorry.
I didn't say anything more. That was it.
Okay. Yeah. It's like you either want like. I think for a long period of time, what it was a lot of people wanted to believe it, but there was not a solid evidence or story. And now there is one.
Yeah.
And now there's also people at the Pentagon who say, I have reason to believe that we're not alone in this universe. The guy who we're putting in charge to scan the skies for foreign objects is saying that I don't think we're alone in this universe.
Yeah. I think that...
And if you think about it, think of all the media noise as a planet that we've been making, right? Like media may be something that's unique to the human race. And we are consistently broadcasting radio waves, television shows, this stream that's happening right now into the vast expanse of space. And it travels for eternity.
I actually don't know if it goes that far. I feel like I think the waves like they become I don't know, they taper out, right?
I mean, I don't know. I honestly, I don't want to say yes or no. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But I mean, presuming that they don't, and even presuming that they do at a certain point, they still probably travel a very vast distance, you know? And to say that there's another species that one maybe not hasn't intercepted it. I mean, we sent the Voyager satellite out, just fucking shot that guy out there with tons and tons of pictures of the human experience of how we've discovered how we found a way to put this object into space, with describing the math and the jet propulsion in ways that are abstract, so that anybody who has an understanding of gravity can understand them without intense computation. That satellite is consistently broadcasting a song out into the vacuum of space. And that's what I mean, is like, to make a lot of noise like this and then to presume that we're alone in the universe, with the idea that there's unlimited possibilities in the universe. For us to believe that we're alone is inherently, like, I think, disingenuous to like math. Like, I think it's intellectually disingenuous. And then for us to go, okay, not only are we alone, but we're making all of this noise and nobody's going to intercept it at a certain point. Like, it's like, dude, like we are a blinking radio light in the middle of space, of a new species that is consistently blinking information from their existence out into space. And that's amazing, but it's also inherently dangerous. Like, we have no idea what the fuck these things are.
Well,
And that's I think the reason why a lot of people are want the government, like they want the government to say, confirm whether or not they have found this technology, because I think they're afraid. Like I would be afraid of that a fucking species comes down and says, hey, like, we need all your water,
yeah.
and we're just gonna fucking kill you. Like, that's terrifying. You know, like, what do we do? And we lock ourselves in a bunker and nuke our planet to get him the fuck off. Like, either way, it's a terrible, like, experience. So I think if the government was to acknowledge the fact that they exist, the government's either hiding it because they don't want the technology to get into somebody's hands, right? To fall into the wrong hands or an enemy, or they're doing it because what they're doing with it is inherently dangerous and could be catastrophic. You're talking about gravity propulsion.
Or the third option, which is that that's not the case, and there are not
Then there's nothing there,
secrets.
and it's an elaborate hoax to develop American military, the image of American military supremacy. Yeah.
Wait, how does that relate to that?
Because if the the Soviet Union, you know, America is very public. They have a lot of public media.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of countries that watch American media. If there is consistent talk about alien technology landing in the United States,
and
there's a talk about they have a secret Air Force base where they reverse engineered this technology to develop certain things, the Soviet Union is going to go, oh shit, that's fucking crazy.
I also don't think that is what is going on either. I think that aside from all those options, I think that the most likely thing, in my opinion, which we clearly wouldn't find it, we're not going to find an answer on this between us, but I think the most likely thing is that Bob Lazar either believes that honestly and has like created a reality that he believes in now, or it is just an elaborate publicity stunt. In which case, it would be no more elaborate significantly than other publicity stunts that have been done in the past. So,
have you watched the interview? The full interview?
I've watched portions of the interview, but I also watched another Joe Rogan interview with a conspiracy theory like guy who is supposed to debunk them, and he talked about that in particular.
You talked about Bob Lazar's story?
Yeah.
Dude, I think
I also watched the documentary Bob Lazar, and I thought it was absolute garbage.
It's
total trash. Which
the podcast is way better.
Which lends zero credibility to anything that he's saying, in my opinion.
I think it was a terrible idea for him to let that guy make a fucking documentary about it. I think he should have just gone on Joe Rogan's podcast and just talked.
But I want to
wait before you get off. I don't think it's that unlikely of an idea to suspect that aliens have visited Earth for a multitude of reasons. Because if they're quote unquote using gravity propulsion, they are able to bend space in front of their craft and travel through it at an exponential rate. The Earth has been here for billions of years. It's not unlikely billions. It's not unlikely for us to think that, you know, in the podcast he mentions that one of the crafts was found during an archaeological dig thousands of years ago. It's not. I don't think it's nay impossible or to say aliens have visited Earth. I think it's almost probably more possible that they have at some point.
I think it's almost exactly parallel as an argument that one can make about any given religion.
I agree.
I think it's impossible to say it doesn't exist, and it's also impossible to prove it.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to prove it until presuming it is proven. Until it is proven, you know, like especially like even with Christianity, like there's these whole debates of you know, whether Jesus existed and he touched this inherent cloth or what his face would have looked like. Like, it's all, and that's the thing is because we weren't modern humans at the time. We never recorded records of these things. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that for a story like Bob's to develop and to be told and to be consistent
Well, to
against.
be fair, there are a lot of records that indicate that someone named Jesus Christ did exist.
That's
To be
true.
fair.
Okay. So then even
And
still,
was an important person.
still though. Okay, so it's the same thing. We know
Yeah.
that somebody named Jesus Christ existed and that they were an important person. We know that there's an Air Force base in Nevada
Yep.
that tests on experimental crafts.
Exactly.
And we know that this guy may have worked there because of his story is consistent
Yeah.
the entire time.
Totally.
It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But I think what really is telling about Bob's story. I don't listen to all of the other conspirators. What's really because I don't see Bob Lazar as a conspiracy like it's a conspiracy theorist. I see him as like a guy that might have actually done this, and you look at how at his history at MIT and Los Alamos and how it was erased, but then there's tons and tons of records of it existing. I think like for his story to be pitted against the information age, like literally where people have tons and tons of public records and stuff like that at their fingertips, and they can verify stuff in an instant. For his story to stay consistent and to be proven multiple time and time again, I think that's our best bet and our best approximation if Earth has been visited by extraterrestrial life. His story is the best one so far.
I think I could make another parallel argument that brings that almost to the exact same like level as Christianity in terms of.
I agree with you. I agree. But I okay, then shoot, I'll hear it.
All right, okay, I'll do it fast, and then I do want to show you something, and then we should end. But
yeah, that's been going for a while.
So one of the main arguments is there have been people who claim that they were incarnations of God in the past, and there have been like that has existed before. There, I mean, like you have or people who have spoken to God or whatever. Like you have Muhammad and like tons of people who are like, yes, I am in touch with this higher power.
Right.
But the argument that like Jesus Christ is separated from the rest is that he was the only one that was able to convince X portion of society that he was indeed this character and like that this was true, which was the largest amount of people that had been convinced or ever have been convinced of something like that, right? And so he is like the most convincing one of all the options. I think that would probably be the same thing as Bob Lazar in your case. He might be the most convincing, in my opinion, conspiracy theorist, but that is all that he probably is.
Okay, so all right, no, I see where you're coming from, but all right, do me a favor, go take some time at any certain point in the future, and just sit down and watch the full podcast. I'm serious.
Okay.
Because for you to, that would be like me consuming. It's like me consuming 20% of a topic that I need to.
That's fair. Yeah, I can listen to it.
Right? So
I'll listen to it.
Yeah, so you should give it a listen.
Okay.
I think, and you should honestly sit down and just listen to him talk and see what I don't. And look, dude, like I'm the first person to be like, it wouldn't be outside of the realm of the government to just plant this guy. Or it wouldn't be outside. I am always looking out for the snake oil salesman, even to my shrink. I'm always like.
But I think that theory as well is a snake oil sale. That it's a government plant of him.
Yeah, I that's why I said. That's why I try to differentiate between like okay, say he's not a government plant. Okay, say he's just a guy lying. I'm always looking out for the snake oil salesman, regardless, right? The shyster. I don't think this guy is that. And for me to like, I will say secondary education is a fucking snake oil salesman, right? Like I publicly said that multiple times. I'll say so many things. I will scrutinize, or what's the right word? I will be scrupulous enough in my approach of understanding someone or something to determine whether or not it's a scam or not in my daily walks of life, in my conversations, figuring out where and when people are trying to take advantage of me. And I feel that as a person, I have a fairly decent understanding of that paradigm. Now, that doesn't make me a professional as a cross-examiner, right, at like a legal or litigious level. But as somebody who knows me, who knows that I wouldn't go out of my way to defend something that I didn't believe in, I think you should take that as a vetting of confidence in this guy's story, and you should really give it a listen and just at least consider it.
Okay. That's good enough. I'll give it a listen.
Okay, cool.
All right. Now to transfer on.
Yeah.
I recently was interviewed by German Interview magazine.
Wow.
Which is the German version of the pop art magazine for interviews that was started by Andy Warhol. And I just wanted to share that the first piece of art that was brought to the moon and that was left on the moon is this. It just contained a couple different doodles from some different artists, things that each thought was important.
One of them is obviously a dick. Dude.
No, one of them is Andy Warhol's signature done artistically. And that was
he makes it look like a dick.
That was a piece of art that was left on the moon, and that I just wanted to share that with you.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you hear? I think we had in Digital Symposium, we had a guy talk from the media department at the Jet Propulsion Lab, and they wanted to take a piece of Galileo's bone and send it to Jupiter, like the Jupiter lander or whatever, or satellite. And they approached the Italian space station or the space agency, whatever they are, and they're like, "Can we use it because we want to send this thing to Jupiter?" And they were like, "No." They want to be the people to do it.
Oh, okay, that's good.
People, obviously, they want to be the people.
Galileo, io vorrebbe mangiare Galileo.
Mangiare, eat Galileo.
That's what they do, right? He's like food.
Yeah, you said to eat Galileo.
I only know 5 words.
What are they?
Qualcosa, bere, le vorrebbe.
Did you take Italian?
No, I just did like my brother and I like messed around with these Pimsleur CDs for like a couple weeks or something, but I forgot like almost all of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, there you go. You like
shut up, dude.
And you totally forgot it.
But you know what? I could still repeat those exact phrases. Io voglio bere del vino.
Okay.
That's almost a sentence. And I could say that almost sentence for a long time.
Yeah, but it's not conjugated at all.
Maybe it's not. But
yeah.
it's close enough that I could stick to but totally moot point.
But like somebody could come in and go, bevo, right? Bevo il vino spesso, molti spesso, perché mi piacevo molti al vino. Because I like any wine. So like somebody could come in and say something much more articulate, and kind of like attack that, right? And destroy that.
I would not be a good Italian snake oil salesman.
I don't know. I don't know what point I was trying to illustrate there. But I think I illustrated all of my points phenomenally. I think there's nothing that you can say to challenge me at all, Michael Gerry. Not even one sentence or argument. I think you're full of straw man, red herring, sunken cost,
ad hominem
bullshit arguments that are never ever gonna compare to the true undeniable facts.
All right, let me pay you a good compliment before we end this hangout.
Okay.
As I was saying earlier in our special podcast hangout experience of the night, I think that we had a lot of fun times, like when we were drunk hanging out with the Man Room West. But I think that I enjoy even more having conversations like this with two sober people who have approaches to life that they are executing that are slightly more productive and allow for like more mental space and execution of ideas.
I completely agree. I think to have like an intellectually stimulating conversation like this soberly is really awesome, and I'm happy that we're both doing that. And thank you very much. I had a great time. I was very excited when you called and said, "Hey, you want to come on?" I always love coming on, even when I completely and woefully embarrass myself. As a conservative racist
This
asshole.
year is never leaving us.
Yeah.
We're done for.
We're done. And there goes my career. There goes all my career prospects. My pursuit of my degree is completely fruitless at this point. I don't know where to go from there. I'm kind of just guessing at this point. Anyway, so I'll see you later, man.
All right. Thank you for taking the time to hang out tonight.
No, anytime. Let me know when you want me to. If you know, I know I said a lot of messed up stuff today, a lot of controversial things, but let me know if when you want me to come back on.
Dude, so wait, before so this is Wednesday. If we did every other Wednesday, we would have 4 more Wednesdays, right? Before the project is over. Is that right?
Yeah. No, I think that's a good idea. I was down to do every other Wednesday.
All right, so let's do it then. We got off track for like a month, but let's do 4 more hangouts before it's over. And at the end of the year, like Christmas break, you should come out and be a part of the project in person for a bit.
Yeah, you're right. I gotta find a way out there. I gotta find whether I'll take a bus or I'll go by train. I'll figure it out. But I do want to be out there and be there for it.
Cool.
So cool. All right then. I will see you later, man.
Okay.
Have a good